Yeah. Cancel. Yeah. What's the goddamn deal? Yeah. Let's do it, bitch. Now here's a little story that I got to tell about a young gangster nigga out of Jacksonville. He started slinging tapes back on 103, and then he teamed up with that nigga Teddy P. That's me. They call them the Blues Brothers. You can't name a better duo. If you say you made us, then my nigga come bring me two more. I wrestle in the streets. That Chevy look like a sumo. I do business in the hood. White t-shirt with a suit on. I'm not hearing all you niggas. Somebody to turn the mute on. I'm not fearing all you niggas. That AK will make you two-tone. The whole team war ready. I just put my other boot on. I'm out green on these niggas. If something make me want to do wrong. I'm a veteran, better than whoever step in the ring. So why the heck would these justice want to come step to the king? See, I'm the best with the lectures. You gotta prep for these things. I try to tell them, impress them, then let's get left with the green. See, I put money in, so my investment is key. So if ain't no money involved, then don't send no message to me. See, I'm only fucking with bosses. All you peasants can leave. And don't touch the rims on my Impala 73.
The second part of the story is kind of crazy and sad. By the nappy head, look for a talent out of the sand. They took me to the Chevy Shack and all. Cash, we the closest, nigga. When it comes to that rapping and singing, we the dopest, nigga. Hey. Ooh. Brothers. Wanna make the news? Trash, motherfucker.
Oh man, if I max out my volume, I can kind of hear you. Oh, hold on, you're coming through the laptop, not my headset. I, I mean, I can actually hear you now. I didn't realize you're coming through the laptop instead of my headset. Window capture. Yeah. We want
Sorry, this producing thing is pretty annoying. That's why I was trying to get you in here.
Oh yeah, man.
Here we go. Nope, that's not the right one. So yeah, anyway, what you been up to while I figure this out?
Well, I guess I could just listen through the laptop. I'm chilling, man. I'm working a lot, you know.
What do you do for work? I mean, if that's not too invasive.
I'm a chef.
Ooh, cooking in the kitchen. I feel that.
Yeah, I work a lot, so the podcast is like, you know, like the little time I get off, I end up working on the podcast and doing stuff. So that's why some weeks I just don't have time. I just need to take some days off and relax.
Yeah. No,
Especially after that election cycle. That shit was crazy, man.
I appreciate the podcast though. Like,
I appreciate the invite, man.
There's so much going on, and you know, hold on, I'm almost there. Can you see yourself now? Because I should be presenting my screen to you. Hopefully your audio is captioned. I got somebody monitoring it because, like I said before, I had an issue before and it was super lame. All right, we both got audio.
Yeah, this stuff is honestly, I haven't mastered most of it. Like a lot of this tech stuff, I'm just like, I'll figure it out at some point, or I won't. Whatever.
Yeah, I like just decide like I've been wanting to do it for a while, but then one day I just decided I was gonna do it, and I was like,
Same.
let's do it, man. Because what people don't understand is they feel like they're alone or whatever, and in reality, people want to hear what you got to say. It's like I
Right.
feel like since we've been texting and like back in the day when we had AOL Instant Messenger, people have lost the ability to communicate and conversate with people. Here, let me change my camera a little bit so you can see me.
Yeah.
And so now people they need it. Like that's why Joe Rogan and all the podcasts are so big because people don't know how to talk to each other anymore.
Yeah. And you can kind of take cues from, especially someone like Joe fucking Rogan. Like you can learn from him. He's not necessarily like an old man, but he's older than a lot of people, and he's been through a lot. He's wise, he's learned a lot of things. You can just shut up and listen to him talk, and you'll be a better person at the end of it. Like
Yeah.
Joe Rogan is part of the reason I am who I am today, frankly.
I think somebody's actually. I just got a notification. Let's see. Oh, never mind. I thought somebody was trying to join. So first of all, the first question I wanted to ask you is, how do you pronounce your last name?
Ho Hall.
Ho-ha, okay. Because I was gonna be like, hey, we got Eric, but
I had a teacher call me Eric Hellhole one time in like 7th grade.
no, jeez.
It's ridiculous.
All right, so let's do a official start.
All right.
I got a little intro that I play. Hopefully it works. Like I
Heard.
said, this thing is but yeah, after you come in, we'll start it up. What's up? Welcome back. Sorry I've been out for a while. Had to deal with some technical difficulties, but we are back in full effect, and we got a good one for you tonight. I'm going on my Steve Harvey. We got a prominent, I'll say in his own respect, podcaster. And I forgot what you said your last name was already. It was Hole. Yo, my bad.
Hall. You just call me Eric, man. It's fine.
Holha, there we go. Eric Holha. I'm gonna have his stuff linked in. It should be popping up in the bottom here. We got he's part of what do you call yourself? The host? Or
Yeah, I'm a founder, CEO, chairman, CFO, CTO. I'm the head everyone. I'm the head everything over at Free Minds Podcast. It's a one-man operation over here.
Wow. Yeah. So look it up. It's called the Free Minds Podcast. It's really good. I enjoy it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
One of the things that people, I guess, don't really look at or aren't really concerned about right now is the CCP. And that was one of Trump's big pushes was China. He called them out real big, and he put a bunch of
sanctions
and tariffs on them because, America before NAFTA, before Bill Clinton and Biden implemented NAFTA, there was other people obviously, but we'll just call it those two big names. We were the biggest, or one of the biggest manufacturers in the world, and now China is almost 30%, like a good quarter of the actual production in our country.
Yeah.
So, and another big thing, geez, the Taiwan thing. I don't mean to jump ship real quick, but the aggressive move into Taiwan as soon as Trump left office was kind of insane. And that was brought up in your last podcast. I'm actually going to look for it while you talk and post it in the chat.
Oh, thanks, man. Again, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. I've had some people on my show. I have yet to be invited to anybody's show as a guest, so this is a first for me. It's kind of nice. My last episode was with an expert on the CCP, Mitchell Gerber, and man, that guy just blew me away. He's spectacular. He knows, he's got all of his facts down. He's got all of his sources. He's got all of his data and his links and everything. And what the Chinese Communist Party has been getting away with is, it's disgusting. It's unbelievable this is allowed to happen. And they have like Mike Pompeo said earlier in 2020, he's like they've infiltrated every level of our government,
Mm.
and they get policies passed through the Democrat shills that empower the Chinese Communist Party. When you get a high minimum wage laws coupled with high corporate tax rates with a trans-Pacific partnership,
Mm.
you effectively are telling companies, hey, ship your jobs overseas, save yourselves a lot of money, and you're enriching our enemies while destroying our economy at home. So it's twofold. Not only are we losing jobs and GDP, they're gaining them.
Mm.
Economics isn't zero sum, but the jobs of people living in this country are, you know?
And I'm sure you can fill me in, but I remember the Uyghurs, but there was also another group that
Yeah, there's the House Christians
okay.
was another group. There's the Falun Gong.
Yep, Falun Gong.
And there's several others. I wanted to say Thai nationals, but I'm not positive on that last one. But yeah, they're basically do whatever they want. And not unlike America, they have complete control of, the news organizations or the quote media. So they can do whatever they want. And then even if they get discovered doing something horrible, they can just say, oh, that was just this terrorist group. And we're actually the good guys. So, I mean, they don't have to answer to anyone. They don't have to follow any of the rules we have to follow. And they play the long game. And we don't, know?
That was the thing I thought was most interesting is that, like you said, the jobs, but they're also slaves. They pay them no money at all. And you have Apple, one of the biggest culprits of the slavery that nobody cares about, nobody talks about. Everyone, I mean, I don't want to go crazy right off the jump, but everyone talks about, the slavery in America. And I understand, yes, it did happen, but
yes, like everywhere else on earth, America had slavery. Yes.
Yes. But the thing is that it's still going on now. People, they buy it all the time and no one seems to care.
Well, see, the thing is, concentration camps and what goes with them are necessary for communism because there are certain things that need to get done that nobody will do nobody will do that job in a socialist or communist society for what it would pay, or there's certain lines that they wouldn't even cross. They need people with no choice. They need free labor. They need slaves to do certain things because the general population won't, even with total government totalitarian control.
I wish I could remember the teacher. It was probably middle school or maybe even earlier, but they were teaching us about communism, and I was like, yo, that's pretty cool. Like, if you are adept in something like gymnastics or whatever, you get pushed into that field. And I think in some respects, yeah, we need what were those things that we had back in the day? They would have you take an aptitude test or whatever, it'd say, hey, these are your strong suits and these are your weak points. And I feel in some respects, this is the 21st century. We have to adapt some things. I said it before. The USPS needs to adapt Amazon policies, or not the policies, but the technologies. And we need to come into the 21st century and the new technologies. Like America needs to use Facebook or Google for either voting or we just have to adapt and grow. We can't stay stuck in the 20th century because technology is growing and we don't have a choice because whether we like it or not, it's here and it's not going anywhere.
That's definitely accurate. The problem is the people that control the technology are brainwashed into a psychotic intersectional Marxist ideology. So now they're the technocrat gatekeepers, which is why I think at this point anybody who's resisting those things, like you just said, I think if we could find a way to use blockchain, say, to vote, you know what I mean? It's accountable to each person. The entire way that it works is to show and establish ownership of a piece of information.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no reason why that couldn't be used safely to implement some kind of voting system. So I'd totally be on board with that. It makes total sense. But the thing that something you said is something, it's very common that you'll hear on the other side, on the Democrat side, which is like government needs to sort of step up and change and take charge of things. But I think if you really look, you'll find that when government injects itself into anything, they make the situation worse.
Oh yeah,
They
totally.
always they increase costs, they lower efficiency. They don't have the same incentives as a private business to work efficiently and allocate their scarce resources properly, because
The
they don't
blank
really
check.
yeah, exactly. The money's coming in regardless. They don't have to answer to investors. They don't have to answer to, their boss. They just have to kind of get the job done, and they'll stay open. It doesn't matter. A private industry has to operate in the margins. They have to be efficient and successful at what they're doing, because they need people to buy their good or service. The government can just have a monopoly and have really shitty service. So this is the argument that I make whenever anybody brings up like universal healthcare. I mean, imagine going to the cancer DMV, because that's what would happen.
But
That's what that is. Like the government doesn't help any situation.
But
I agree that we need to modernize.
If we had better regulators or people who actually fought for us, I don't want to say humans, but for example, if we took all the things that kill you, cigarettes, alcohol, weed, now that it's legalized in a lot of places, and
that's not a country I want to live in.
What do you mean? Hold on.
I didn't even let you finish your thought. My bad.
Oh, all I'm saying is if we take those taxes and allocate them to healthcare as a buffer and say, everything that kills you.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we're going to put it into the healthcare, and that's going to be the jump off, the starting point to universal healthcare. Because like you said, Canada, the UK, they have universal healthcare, and everyone complains that they have to wait so long. They go to private doctors. You have to pay to get things better. We have people in America going to Mexico, going to Brazil to get procedures done because it's like, it's way cheaper and the doctors are great. Yeah,
you're right.
There's just so much. I mean, even today when I was thinking about what am I going to say to you, there's so much and so many places to go. We got, you can start with the insurgency, or you can start with the BLM has decided they're going to work with Antifa. You got the Boogaloo Boys who decide they're going to work together. And then you
the Proud Boys officially being declared a terrorist organization by the Canadian government.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. Wasn't Enrique Tarrio, didn't it come out that he was like an FBI informant?
I did hear that, yeah.
Yeah, everything. There's just so much news and so many places.
But I don't know if that's true. I just saw that it was a story. Frankly, if I don't really delve into it and check for myself, I try not to believe anything, really. But I did hear that, yeah. It could be possible.
Yeah, that's the thing. Back to the podcast. This is it's so in depth. And have we met before? We live in the same town, so we've had to meet before.
Yeah, we've met.
Okay.
We know a bunch of the same people.
Exactly.
I went to BHS.
I went to Pathfinder because I was like, I'm out of here.
Oh, right.
I went for a trade that I never ended up doing anything with, but I guess kinda. It was programming and multimedia. But
here you are.
Yeah, exactly. I know. But anyway, the anal. There's so much news. Like, how do you even talk about anything? The new anal swabs thing is nuts.
Yeah. So I have a pretty hefty diet of,
anal swabs.
Yeah, every day. Make sure you get at least one. No, I have a huge amount of sort of private media that I watch. Like there are specific like Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Mark Levin. Like there are people that I know and trust that I get my information from. And that's really what it's come down to is you have to decide who do you trust. That's all it really is. I mean, you can decide that you trust CNN, or you really feel in your soul that they're the ones telling you what's really happening. Then who am I to tell you that that you're wrong. I mean, you are, but you're not going to listen to me. I'm just some fucking guy. Like, why would you listen to me?
Gaslighting. That's the new thing I've been talking to my kids about and family about. Because gaslighting is something that people use all the time. You just don't think about it.
Sinister.
Yeah. I tell my kids, like, dude, I gaslight you all the time when I tell you a bold-faced lie to your face and you're looking at me, like, trying to figure out, like, is he telling me the truth or not? And I'm like, that's gaslighting. But I feel like Tim Pool, I started listening to him more. When Crowder took his little break, I guess he kind of filled in that little gap for me. You know how he does his yearly January or whatever break he does. But yeah, I'm really into Tim Pool.
Crowder.
And I heard him, obviously, when he was on Rogan with Jack Dorsey.
Vijay Gatti and Jack Dorsey.
I was trying to remember her name.
I don't know why I remember that, because she's so hot. I don't know, somehow I remembered her name because she was so hot.
Yeah, I would never have pulled that out of my ass. But obviously Jack Dorsey. But yeah, no, his is pretty great. Or we can go into Robinhood. Like, there's so much craziness. We're living in history right now, and I feel like there's so many people who are not even paying attention. They don't even know what's going on.
It's easier, like I mentioned in one of the recent episodes. It kind of, I didn't even have anything written; it just came out. But the idea of the burden of truth—that's a legitimate thing now. Like, I'm sure that there's a large, probably a plurality of people on the left that actually believe the intersectional Black victimhood nonsense. They really, really, in their soul, believe it, and they're not just shilling for a political ideology. Yeah, I mean they are, but like they're in their heart, they're trying to make positive change. They're misguided and wrong, but they have the proper intentions. Yeah. But then there's a lot of people on that side that know that they're wrong, but they use it as a cudgel. It's a weapon. It's it's because I mean, if you're pro Black Lives Matter, who wants to be on the other side of that argument? Like, you know what I mean? It's easy. It's this linguistic trick. It's like, well, were you saying Black lives don't matter? I mean, we've all seen it. It's like, well, no, I'm just saying that the organization is a Marxist terrorist organization that is now up for a Nobel Peace Prize. By the way, my God. Side note. Yeah,
you know, I mean,
they rioted and burned and looted for what,
10
6
months?
More. I mean, it's hard to even, who do you count as, because a lot of people are BLM and Antifa activists. So which one do you credit? But yeah, I mean, there's no sane universe in which an organization like this gets a Nobel Peace Prize. But we don't live in a sane universe. We live in a psychotic world that's been driven crazy by intersectional Marxism. And victimhood.
I think that's the thing that this Robinhood is really pointing out. Excuse me, really pointing out right now, because people are seeing that it's us versus them, you know. And I made the mistake.
The establishment. That's what people don't realize. It's the smellies. it's the me and yous versus the elites. That's what it is.
I made the mistake.
And some people still think it's Democrat versus Republican or this and that. Yeah. And I can forgive that mistake because I can get it. But when it really comes down to it, it's the fucking crony establishment elites versus the smellies.
Yeah, I made the mistake. I made the mistake the other day when I was talking about it to a friend, and I said, "Man, that's some real white people shit to do when they paused the GameStop thing." And he was like, "Oh, why do you got to bring race into it?" And I was like, "I didn't mean it like that. I was just kidding." Like. It's really elitist, but that was the first thing that came to mind. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't even want to get into it because now it does sound really bad. But
I mean, we could talk about the GameStop thing if you want. If you don't, that's fine. But
I got Robinhood. Let's see.
You know, don't use Robinhood, bro.
No, I know.
Get Fidelity.
Well, yeah, true. I'm actually about to be getting out of Robinhood because they just paused it because Melvin and you had Janet Yellen and
so I should have looked up the name of the organization before I came on here because I can't remember the abbreviation. But
Melvin, isn't it Melvin you're talking about? Or
well, Citadel? No, that's one of the hedge funds, but the regulating body, the governing entity,
that issued
the order to Robinhood.
It's like SCSC SEC, something like that.
No. That's not the SEC. The SEC didn't have anything to do with that. This is a separate organization that's actually technically a private organization that regulates the amount of deposit that these platforms have to have in some central location. It actually had nothing to do with the SEC, but this private organization was the one that pulled the plug on the trading. It actually had nothing to do with the SEC. So, I mean, while I get it that Robinhood kind of boned people right at that stock was soaring. I mean, it would have broke 500, no question, if they hadn't done that.
Yeah.
So I get that people hate them, but there is other things operating in the background. It's not all Robinhood. It's not necessarily fair to put all the blame on them. But then again, there were other platforms that didn't have that problem at all. Fidelity didn't stop trading. I don't think Ameritrade. I think it E-Trade stopped trading. Robinhood did.
It was TD Ameritrade and Robinhood.
That's right. Yeah, but there's a bunch that didn't because they had the capital invested, or they had the capital they had the right amount of deposit that they could cover.
Yeah, the short
cost. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So as much as it sucks about Robinhood, I don't want to hit them too hard because, like I said, they do have to follow the orders of this private organization that somehow gets to regulate such a thing. It's the craziest, most cronyist shit I've ever heard of. But
we should preface and say this is entertainment purposes. That's what the video is linked as. We're not we're not what do you call it? Investors.
This is not financial advice.
Yeah, we're not investing or giving financial. Well, yeah.
With diamond hands.
Did you actually? I sent you a video the other day. I don't know if you actually watched it. It was called where'd it go?
Oh, I don't think I did.
I had it up here. It was called Plandopolis. It's a cartoon, actually, and it was super creepy. Like, I watched it and I was like, holy shit. And it came out in 2011. It's super old, but it was just so weird. And it talks about like how nobody had cars, and this person was going to visit their friend, and they had to like plan it out with the government just to make it easier for travel. And they're like, "Oh, are you hungry?" He's like, "Yeah." And so like, let's go to the market. And then he asks, "Oh, can we get some meat?" And she's like, "No, it's not your birthday. You're not it's the creepiest, weirdest commercial. I mean, cartoon.
Sounds like some great recess shit.
Yo, exactly. That's what I said when I watched it, and I was like, wow. And I told people, it's like, it's, obviously it's programming. Like, they like to get you used to. Who's the magician or whoever it said that, they have to tell you first what they're going to do, and then they do it. It's, what's it called?
Yeah, I'm not sure who you're talking about, but I'm familiar with the tactic. Yeah. It's like when a bunch of liberal congressmen started tweeting about re-education camps for Trump supporters and deprogramming and all this shit. That it's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, I forget the kid's name. The one that was tweeting. He tweeted some. It was not necessarily a meme, but it was like a fake ad for if you want to vote for Hillary, text this number.
The dude in Florida who got arrested, right?
Yeah, I think so. I forget his name or where he was, but I heard about it. And that was the 2016 election. That was the last election. That wasn't this one.
And he got arrested a week or two ago.
They are they want retribution.
It's crazy.
They're not just gonna, if you were even in DC at the time on January 6th, people have gotten fired from their jobs, banned from banking institutions. I mean, you're being depersoned and removed from society for being physically near an event that happened, and being thrown in jail for sharing a stupid picture 5 years ago.
I'm gonna say one, Ron DeSantis is killing it right now, but number two is they got
he's a beast.
The White House. They erected that fence isn't going down. There's still 20,000 National Guardsmen in Washington D.C.
Yeah, there's gonna be a permanent green zone now. This whole idea there was an insurrection, it's literally absurd and unbelievable. But the world is just out of its mind and crazy now, so it doesn't matter. Like nobody actually believes that, but they're all just going to keep saying it because that's the narrative, and they know what happens when you stray from the narrative.
Yo, what's Homeboy's
Yeah.
name? Because now every time I hear Insurrection, I always go with Erection. What's Homeboy's name? The majority leader.
I'm not sure who the majority leader is now. Actually, it was Mitch McConnell, but it's not now.
No, not for the Republican. The other one.
Harry Reid? I don't know. Is it Harry Reid again?
No, he said, and Donald Trump incited in the insurrection, and that's all I think about every time.
Anyone's is that Schumer?
Yes, Chucky Schumer.
Oh, Schumer. Yeah. I actually heard him say it in my head when you said that.
Yeah. So anytime anyone says insurrection, I just like erection. Like, I don't know, it sucks, but so yeah.
Yeah.
Anything? What do you think? What is on your mind right now? Going back to your podcast, which I enjoy. What do you got coming up for the next podcast?
I'm thinking about doing a deep dive on climate change because it's something you just kind of can't get away from. Excuse me.
Got that Rona, son. Good thing. Yeah, I need some. Where's my mask? I'm about to mask up.
Not just one?
No.
Or you're gonna do all three?
I got a bunch. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Man. I'm gonna mask up the mic. I'm gonna mask up everything.
Are you one of those dirty one maskers? Because I don't associate with one maskers. So two mask minimum over here, bud.
I feel so terrible for the slow people that I see all the time in their car with their mask on.
Driving in their car alone.
Yeah.
Wearing a mask.
Or people running. Like, I seen a dude riding his bike today, and he wasn't super in shape, and he was riding so slow because he was probably dying from all the CO2 he's inhaling. And
because people are absolute sheep.
They just want to feel good too. Like, I'm a hero. Like,
I'm one of the good ones. I'm wearing my mask.
Here we go. The secret that nobody's talking about. You got France, you got Australia, you got Merck, you got the Isle of Man, who are all quietly like, let's just relax with that. France and Australia stopped the Smaxine. I won't say what it is. They stopped the Smaxine program because they're like, yo, it's messing up too many people. The Isle of Man, like last week, they were like, all right, we're going to no lockdown because it's not helping anyone. Our information is showing that it's not doing any good.
I mean, if the lockdowns worked, then why didn't they work?
Well, we didn't lock.
It's literally that simple. Like, you know that thing that didn't work last time? Yeah, we're gonna do that again.
In harder core.
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. It never made any sense. But of course, it was never actually about coronavirus. It was about destroying America's economy and getting whoever their shill was going to be implanted in the White House.
And the big thing, they say every action has a reaction. The big thing I think right now is all the comedians, podcasters, and people who are moving from their crazy state out of their crazy state because they're like, yo, it's nuts. We're going to Texas. We're going to Florida. We're going to...
And then they vote for the same shitty policies they voted for in California to make California a shithole. It's fucking unbelievable.
Well, I mean, like, do you know Andrew Schultz at all?
Yeah, I think he's a comedian. He's friends with Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah. He's been posting a ton of stuff because he's like in Florida right now, and they're just going nuts and enjoying the no mask, and they're just like eating out and everything.
Sorry, bro, this is Florida. People come here to fucking chill. Like, this is vacation land. You ain't wearing a fucking mask here. Yeah. Republicans actually go by the data. Like he looked at what was happening and realized, well, lockdowns are killing the businesses and ergo the citizens, and they're not stopping the spread of the virus.
Well,
so continuing the lockdown makes no sense, and we're not going to do something that makes no sense.
And the UN just posted a bunch of numbers saying, like, because they didn't say because we locked down, but because we shut down so much, the third world, millions of people have died because no one thinks about the money that, I'm just going to throw out a couple nationalities, but Jamaicans send a bunch of money back. Mexicans send a bunch of money back. Indians, everyone sends money back, and that's couple of $100 equals thousands of dollars in their economy, and those people are dying now because they don't have food. Or in China, they were just talking about since the lockdowns, they're having a food shortage, and that's just gonna trickle over to us. Everything
Yep.
We live in an
Yeah,
ecosystem.
supply lines were broken. Trade was destroyed. People really just think that you can turn the money machine on and print more money and that'll solve problems.
Oh my God.
People really think that the problem is there's just not enough. Well, we just have to make more money. That's it, obviously. People just don't understand basic economics. People don't understand basic level politics. People don't understand anything anymore. And that's how the establishment wants it. They want uneducated, angry idiots that are easily manipulatable, because if someone can make you angry, they can get you to do something.
You know, I used to get into it in Facebook when people would post, you know, idiotic stuff, but I just stay so far away. The other day, somebody posted like, oh, they could fix all this with a signing of a pen and just, you know, sign more money into existence. And I'm like,
yeah. Well, it really comes. Are you familiar with Thomas Sowell?
Nah.
So he's probably the smartest guy on planet Earth. He's an economist.
How do you spell the last name? Just like
Sowell.
Sowe. Okay. Yeah, the first name that popped up.
Yeah, he's been destroying social justice warriors since the 60s with facts and data, and they hate it.
Rhetorical Reality, Thomas Sowell, Basic Economics, Black Rednecks and White Liberals.
That's the best book I've ever read in my life, by the way. You should read that. It'll change your life.
Which
Black
one?
Rednecks and White Liberals. Yeah.
Really? Damn, no,
Yeah,
I've never heard of this dude.
No, but he's the basis for a lot of my opinions on things. And he basically says that it comes down to this. There's two visions. There's the constrained vision, which conservatives tend to hold, and there's the unconstrained vision, which liberals tend to hold. The unconstrained vision is that if only we had the right people in the right positions of power, we could fix all the world's problems. Is essentially what the unconstrained vision means. They think that the only reason why everything isn't perfect is because they don't have their people in the right places forcing down the proper rules on the smellies and able to shepherd them properly. That's the unconstrained vision. The constrained vision that conservatives tend to hold is the world is an evil, fucked up, dark place, and bad things are going to happen to people, and there's no legislation that's going to change that. And keeping all that in mind, we can do what we can to help people to a point, but at a certain point, you have to accept that bad things happen in the world, and you aren't going to be able to legislate those changes away. And basically, it's one vision thinks that society and people are perfectible, and one side recognizes that humans are sinners, and we are weak, and we are fickle, and if we aren't perfectible, society isn't perfectible. So it's basically just one side acknowledges reality and one side doesn't. But I feel like people with it that hold the constrained vision are outnumbered these days.
So, quick sidebar. I don't mean to break off, but do you subscribe to any religious views? Do you think this world was spoken into existence a long time ago, written down? You know, you got John the Revelator. What do you think about that? Just because you're talking the last thing you said really just brought me back to: are we just moving to a place that we can't change? Like, are we destined for this terrible world, like you said, the sinners, and there's no way to fix us?
I'm not particularly religious in any direction. But I do acknowledge that people are imperfect, and bad things happen. I know this personally. And I know that when bad things happen, you can either be a victim or you can dust yourself off and move forward.
Yeah.
It's essentially what it comes down to. And being a victim means you give up your power. You lose any chance of changing your circumstance because you're not responsible for your circumstance. Someone else is. How could you change it?
Yeah.
It's just a sick, disgusting hole that people have been tricked into living in and thinking.
Yeah.
And I choose not to subscribe to that. Bad things are going to happen, and I'm going to move forward because I'm a beast. Nothing's going to stop me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think we're destined to move forward. I kind of subscribe to I don't want to say Elon Musk, but I'm not an Elon Musk file, but they're moving.
I mean, there's worse people to follow, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I just think that, humans might be destined to get off this planet and keep it moving. I don't think a lot of people think you think we're just gonna die here?
We're not going to die here. We're going to be fine.
So,
assuming that fucking the red dragon doesn't swallow the world, we'll be fine. Assuming that we have somewhere that's free left, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
I
think it would be cool to get off the planet.
Maybe. I mean, people have been off the planet and they came back because there ain't shit out there. I mean, it's cool theoretically. We went to space, but space is a big fucking empty place.
Yeah.
You have, basically, if you're one of these people that wants to colonize Mars, you're just saying, I want to go die on Mars. But that's what's gonna happen.
If we survive, we have the rest of infinity. I mean, how many people can we fit on the planet until we have to move somewhere?
That's something people have been saying for a long time, and the population has only been skyrocketing. And while there are some areas that are overpopulated, they tend to be, cities that are overpopulated because of the economic benefits, not because people don't have anywhere to go.
No, I'm not a Ted Turner or Georgia Guidestones. Who's the other guy? The Google, whatever guy that. I'm just saying, in time, if we keep moving and moving and moving for another 1,000 years, do you think? I don't know. Anyway, we can move on from this conversation because it's gonna go in circles and circles forever. Georgia Guidestones, that's a good one for me, man.
I don't know what that is.
Georgia Guidestones, Ted Turner. You put it in, obviously, Georgia. But can you see my screen, right?
Yeah, from the side.
Ooh, I can't spell. First one, Georgia Guidestones. Georgia Guidestones are a granite monument erected in 1980 in Elbert County, Georgia, in the United States. A set of 10 guidestones is inscribed on the structure in 8 modern languages, and short messages inscribed at the top of the structure. 4 ancient languages script. The monument, where is it? I'm just looking for... It basically says, we need to bring the population down to, I think, 700 million people.
Well, that's close to the number that has been posited to be the number that Earth could theoretically sustain indefinitely, which is 500 million, which is what I've heard. But a lot of the arguments for overpopulation are easily debunked if you just look at the trends and the data, and that's part of the climate change. That's part of the climate change argument that I'm pretty familiar with, which is part of what I'm actually going to get into this week. So
it says maintain under 500 million, like you said, perpetual balance with nature.
Yeah, that's what someone said, and that's the number that's been thrown around and touted by liberals as the goal. And I genuinely believe that's what they want. They want to cull the population, so it's just the elites. And a lot of their policies are doing that. I mean, how many suicides skyrocketed during the quarantine? People, economic debt skyrocketed. People's lives are destroyed. People's businesses are destroyed.
Yeah, what was the number? They said, I think it was 60. I was looking at the death numbers, and it did go up by $7,000 or $8,000, 8,000 people, or maybe it was 13,000. But they did say that suicide and overdoses doubled. So, the people who weren't
not to mention the effects of kids not getting an education. The effects of children growing up not seeing people's faces and not learning those emotional cues that they need to learn to grow and to be social beings in the world.
Nobody knows the long-term effects of that, because they say
how could they?
Children learn the first language they learn is facial recognition. They learn what you're thinking through your face. And now we just, there's so many kids who they've only seen their mother or, someone's face. And, man, the world is crazy. But hey, we just hit about 50. I don't know if you want to keep it going or we can leave it at that and set it up for another one.
I had fun. I would actually like to keep going, but dinner has been ready for a while, and it's in the oven staying warm, but my girlfriend is waiting patiently for us to eat. So
I feel you. I appreciate it. I feel you, and I appreciate it. Yeah, that was
fun, man. We should definitely do it again.
No problem. I'm down for, whenever, weekly or monthly. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to set up another thing because I have a cousin who does music, and he wants to start doing like a weekly thing, just dropping tracks and stuff on here. So I was like, yeah, let's do it, man.
What's your do we have anybody watching? Any listeners? Can you tell?
Yeah, it says there's 2. I don't know how true that is, I'm not that popular, but I've been doing it. I want to build something and see what I can do. This is probably the second or third month I've been doing it.
Okay, yeah, I started in like November or something like that. Maybe we could work on doing something together. That'd be cool. You kind of have some more of the tech stuff down.
Yeah, I'm totally down.
It seems like we're a pretty good intellectual match.
Yeah, hopefully.
I enjoyed talking to you.
I was pretty nervous today, so I had a sip of something just because I went up. Yeah, well, no, just like in general, because I just started doing this and I kind of want to make it something I do regularly. Right. And it's not nerve-wracking, but it's just like every time you're like getting up on the stage and you're like, all right, guys, let's go.
I know exactly what you mean. You're like, all eyes on me right now.
Yeah, even though nobody's watching, but still.
Right, but you have to, I know what you mean. You have to, like, I got, 10 listens on a podcast. It's like, I still feel like I have to crush it for those 10 people.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah. Well, thank you. It was awesome. Let's do it again real soon.
Yeah, thanks, man. Definitely.
No problem. All right, later.
All right, take care.